Hey everybody, my name is Marissa, and in this video I'm going to be talking about my experience with quitting my $80,000 per year salary job when I learned these specific things about money. So stay tuned. Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Marissa Romero and welcome to this channel if you are brand new, and welcome back to this channel if you are a loyal subscriber, and thank you so much. If you are new to this channel, what you can expect is me teaching you how to make a side hustle or a full-time income depending on the work you're willing to do, and how to make an income online. So whether you're a beginner, intermediate marketer, there's something on this channel for everybody. So I'm talking about affiliate marketing strategies, email marketing, sales funnels, Facebook ads, paid ads, organic free traffic. So if any of that resonates with you, go ahead and smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, because right now I'm uploading very consistently, pretty much daily, so you won't want to miss a beat. All right, so if you guys are excited to hear my story on how I literally dropped my 80K per year job, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. I'm looking forward to sharing this with you guys. So I wanted to share this video because a lot of you may not know my story, okay? Especially obviously if you're brand new to the channel, but I think it's important to share your journey along the way because it's relatable to people that are aspiring to, take that leap or start an online business, or maybe they're feeling like they don't like their 9 to 5 anymore and they can't figure out why or whatever it is. So let me break down my background for you and some of the things that I've learned about money when I was considering quitting my job, and also what I've learned about money now, okay? So I'm 30 years old. I just turned 30 years old this month in August 2018. And when I was in high school, I went to high school, I worked hard, I took AP classes, I played sports. Like, I was, trained to think that I had to do well in high school to get good grades, to go to college, a nice 4-year university to get good grades, to graduate so I could, afford to buy a nice home, so I could raise a family, retire at the age of 62, and that would be that. That was my, success path. To me, that's what success looked like. Like, it was crazy to me to think that back then I thought that success looked like being the breadwinner of the family. Like, I was like, yeah, one day I want to make $120,000 per year. Like, I want to make more than my future husband. And like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm all proud and I'm gonna like beat the guys. And that's one reason I actually became an engineer. I'm a civil engineer by background. I got my bachelor's in civil engineering. I even got my master's in civil engineering. And one reason I chose engineering, because God knows I wasn't good at engineering. I just chose it because I'm competitive and I like to compete with the guys, right? So it's a male-dominated industry. I'm like, if they could do it, I could do it. And also because at the time I was in college, there was a huge recession. If some of you guys remember, in the US, there was a huge recession, in the late 2000s, like 07, 08, all the way till like 2011, 2012 is when it started to get better. The economy started to improve. And, so a little bit after I graduated from college, I was 23 at the time, and then I went on a 2-year training program with my job. It was actually some of the greatest 2 years of my life. I was on a training program as an engineer. It's called the Engineering Training Program, and I traveled across the country to do different design and construction projects. And honestly, I was rich during those 2 years. Like, I was making like 50 grand a year, but I literally had zero bills. Everything was paid for. I didn't have anything to pay for except for maybe, if I went out on a Saturday night, or if I had to pay for my own gas. Like, I was like balling out of control. It was the most money I've ever made in my life. I was able to pay back a good chunk of student loans and like buy nice Christmas gifts for my family and all this crazy stuff. But So yeah, I got permanently placed in Phoenix, Arizona as a civil engineer, and I moved up really fast. I became a bridge engineer, and part of me was like, when I moved to Phoenix, I'm like, well, what am I going to do now? Like, I'm moving up in my career. I have my bachelor's. I'm like, okay. I was bored. I'm like, what's the next step? And I'm like, I'm going to get my master's so I could prove to people I'm technically great and I know what I'm saying, and I could say to people, I have my master's in engineering. So I paid out of pocket for my engineering master's degree, which was in construction engineering, so a branch of civil engineering. So I went to Arizona State University and got my master's degree in construction engineering. And oh my God, grad school was miserable. Like, it wasn't even fun. And it made me upset because I realized that grad school was just a big fat, extension of undergrad. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, we don't even retain anything, because I had seen the real world, like the job real world. And then I went to grad school and I'm like, they don't teach you anything that has to do with the real world. It was, bullshit. Like, my professors were still yelling at us like we were little kids because we kept getting D's on tests and like these chemical, concrete classes. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, he's yelling at us like we're 5-year-olds. And it just didn't make sense. The university was just, there's something screaming at me like, what is going on here? And then that year into grad school, I'm like, there's something really wrong with what's going on here with the university and how this is all set up. I'm like, there's got to be a better way. Anyway, fast forward a little bit to summer 2016. I took my first trip to Europe with my family. I went with my parents and I went with my sisters, who are younger than me. They're 25 and 15, right? So we went to Europe, had the trip of our lives, but to be honest, that trip really made me very upset because I thought, you know what? All these Europeans are so cool in the sense that you know, they live to live, and they're not like all about work, 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 and they're not really workhorses like we are in the US. And like, in the US, if we, miss a credit card payment or we get a speeding ticket or, God forbid, we, our credit card score drops or something, like our whole life ends. Like, the problems we think we have in America is kind of ridiculous. But anyways, that's beside the point. What I realized on that trip was I was upset because we work hard in the US and we're trapped in this American bubble sometimes where we don't realize that that we don't know anything about the rest of the world, right? I hadn't traveled outside the US. I hadn't gained cultural perspective. I hadn't seen other ways of life, other ways of work ethic. It was crazy. And the other reason I was upset was because I realized I wanted to see the world and I wanted to know, I'm like, how could I get paid and still be able to travel and not work? So anyways, at that point, at that same time, as I took the trip, even before that a little bit, I was starting to feel unsatisfied in my job and especially with my graduate school. And I was going to work every day, feeling like a drone, just going through the motions, answering emails, and I'd look at the people above me and I'm like, I don't want that future. Like people in my job down in when they were in their 40s and 50s, they were just not happy. I mean, we had an employee satisfaction committee, and I realized at one meeting, at an employee satisfaction meeting, I'm like, that people are never going to be satisfied because they just simply hate their jobs. And it was just not going to get any better because, the government is just not very, I realized that things weren't going to get better because bottom line, people were day to day unhappy. They weren't fulfilled by their jobs. They weren't getting fulfillment. So I looked at that and I'm like, you know what? I have to make a change. So I went to the internet looking for different things and I started reading personal development books. And of course, one of the first books I read was Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, kind of your entrepreneur 101 book when you're looking to go from, the corporate life to online business or business owner, period. that was the first book I read, and that's when I learned about, trading your time for money and how that's kind of a really bad idea. And so, and I learned, because I worked up to making just like a couple $100 under $80,000 per year. But guess what my take home was? At best, my take home was probably 45 grand. Why? Because I was single. I had no kids. I was getting taxed like crazy because they thought I had all this money in the world to give to the government because I don't need it. My money was going to retirement, Social Security, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you know what? This is a rip. Like, I'm not I'm not making the money that I'm really making. So it just didn't make any sense. And then when I realized as a business owner that you can write off your business expenses, your business losses, your meals, your mileage, and then you get taxed on what's left, the income that's left, I'm like, that sounds much better to me. What the heck? Anyway, so fast forward to my entrepreneurship career, I discovered a few things, and that's that, money is such an old method of a means of exchange. That's all it is. It's value, perceived value for a means of exchange and trade. So like this piece of paper is perceived as valuable enough to trade in for a camera, like this camera you're watching here, to pay for a camera for me to use. And, I started thinking a lot about money, and I'm like, money is just weird because it's not even real. Like, why did somebody choose money and paper to be, this a valuable item to trade in exchange for other valuable goods? I don't know. But then when I started to think about credit cards and credit scores and how the U.S. is maybe the only country, I don't know what other countries do it, but the only country that has a thing called credit score. And other countries are like, what is a credit score? I'm like, well, it's a score that kind of scolds you if you don't pay your bills on time, and the whole world judges you if your credit score is bad. Anyways, so what I wanted to say was that when I realized that you could make something called passive income, where you don't have to be working that day in order to make money, or you don't have to be working that hour, you can make money as you sleep, as you're on vacation. Like, I worked my butt off to make sure that I could actually do that because, trading time for money is not scalable long term. It's not a good investment for your life. And so like today, I received this commission. Actually, this was yesterday. So I received this commission of $264, and I received that at like 4 in the morning, and that was an affiliate commission from one product I was promoting. And I'm like, you know what, this is mind-blowing to me. I'm like, this is so cool, and this is unimaginable to what I thought was possible, like when I first started this online business. And and then like today's August 29th, I was able to make $1,000 commission. You can see right there, $1,000. And I'm like, whoa, I just made $1,000 commission passively on autopilot. Whereas before, making $1,000 a day was just like not even imaginable. Like, I was bringing home at best like $3,500 a month, like after taxes and all that, great stuff. And I'm like, wow, like I just made $1,000 in a day. That is wild. So, I would just like to say as I conclude this video that, it's the fear of taking the leap of faith. If you're thinking about quitting your job or, making that change or whatever it is, if you're thinking about doing that, the fear of being in a situation or the fear of something is much greater than the fear you actually experience when you're in the situation. So after I took the fear and the anticipation of knowing I was going to quit my job and telling my boss, like, hey, I'm done, like, I'm going to build a business, that was more scary than actually doing it. And afterwards, it was a fresh feeling. And so I think that if you're considering, quitting your job, just know that it's going to be okay. Like, you're gonna start your business journey and you're gonna fail. And as opposed to what we've been taught our whole life, failure is okay and failure is necessary. Like if you follow Will Smith on Instagram, go watch his little highlight story about failure. Failure is so important, and I've failed tons this past year and a half, and I've spent tons of money on mentors and training. And I used to say that, these weren't smart investments, and I used to be kind of ashamed of how much money I spent up front on all these things to learn e-commerce, to learn affiliate marketing, to have mentors, but I would not be where I am today, and I'm not ashamed at all to have spent that kind of money because it accelerated my growth as an entrepreneur, and it accelerated, the income I'm able to produce now online, and now I'm able to fulfill a dream that not too long ago was just a thought and just like a fantasy. I didn't really think that I'd be able to be a digital nomad and work from a laptop and internet connection anywhere in the world. That's crazy. So I guess the bottom line is don't be scared. Don't be so scared to lose money, to fail, because money just comes and goes, and you have to have your money working for you at all times, okay? And so that is one of the things that learned most importantly over these past 2 years is that your money needs to be working for you. Your money needs to be working passively. And, most importantly, money is just a means of exchange. It's just a thing that was deemed valuable many years ago, and you shouldn't be scared of it. You shouldn't lose, stress over it. So I hope this inspired you to, do whatever it is you were thinking of doing. And that's what I'm going to leave you guys with. So if you got any value from this video at all, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Ask me more questions about my journey in the comments because I couldn't cover everything in this video. And if you guys are recommended in some more of my video training and my #1 recommended system and program to help you make money online, to make a full-time income online like I do, go ahead and click the first link in the description below. I think you guys will enjoy it. I have some pretty cool training in there. So that's it for now, you guys. My name is Marissa Romero, and I will see you guys on the next video. Take care.